So the Carolina Panthers get a 25-15 victory over the Atlanta Falcons on Thursday Night Football. The Panthers desperately needed to respond if they were going to be competitive at all for the rest of the season after getting absolutely walked over by the Cincinnati Bengals last Sunday in a game in which the Panthers defense could not do anything to stop Joe Burrow and the Bengals offense, who didn't have their best wide receiver in Jamar Chase. Didn't matter. The Panthers couldn't do anything to slow those guys down. So you go into this game. Weather is a huge factor. Very rainy, obviously. The Panthers had to control the line of scrimmage on both sides of the ball. And fortunately for them, that's what they did. On defense, they were able to get after Marcus Mariota, put pressure on him. They sack him 5 times. He throws an interception to J.C. Horn. Marquise Haynes gets his first 2 sacks of the season right at the end of the game to help close it out. But to me, the star of that defensive line is going to be Derek Brown. The way he's elevated his game over the past 5 or 6 weeks has been absolutely amazing to watch. And it seems like he's really turning into that guy that the Panthers thought they were getting with that top 7 pick in the 2020 draft. He was a guy that I was very supportive of the Panthers drafting back then. First couple seasons were a little rocky, some disappointing play in there, but he's responded well here in his 3rd season, and it looks like his future is very bright. He looks like he's turning into that guy that they thought they were getting when they took him with a top 10 pick back in 2020. So great to see the defensive line come to play. That has to be a strength for the Panthers going forward. When you have guys like Derek Brown and Brian Burns along that defensive front, they've got to be able to create pressure, especially when you have guys like J.C. Horn, who got the interception in this game, that can make plays on the back end. The Panthers left some interceptions out on the field, honestly. Marcus Mariota did not play anything close to his best game. He was making poor decisions all day because of the pressure that the Panthers were getting. So good to see that on the defensive side of the ball. On the offensive side of the ball, it was a lot of the same. The Panthers controlled the line of scrimmage, and that was the story of this game. And I think, going back to the weather a little bit, I think for Atlanta, they like to run the ball for sure, but they like to target the outside, run the ball outside, create space for, especially their quarterback, Marcus Mariota, to be involved in that running game. So I think when the weather became a factor, it played more into the Panthers' hand. They're a more physical running team with Deontay Foreman, obviously. They were able to pound the ball up the middle, move guys along the line of scrimmage. And, shout out to the offensive line. They have been probably the strongest unit for this team this season, which sounds insane to say if you've watched the Panthers at all for the last 10 years or so. Ikem Ekwonu had a bit of a rocky game. He was called for some penalties, but, to me, that's not a huge deal. He's a rookie. He's, finding his way, and I think he's going to be a star given some time. So I wouldn't worry about that too much. Deontay Foreman got to be the star of this game on the offensive side of the ball. 31 carries, 130 yards. I believe his over-under for this game was like 14.5 carries. So that's easy money right there. You know that the Panthers are going to pound the rock with Deontay Foreman if they can. And they've done it every week since Steve Wilkes has taken over. The only week they did not do it really was in Cincinnati, and that was because they were down so quickly they didn't really have the option to run the ball. So they were playing catch-up for a majority of the game, obviously. Other guys, Laviska Shenault obviously gets a little swing pass. It was counted as a run, swing pass, run, whatever you want to call it, I guess. Gets 2 great blocks from DJ Moore and Terrace Marshall, springs him down the sideline. He scores on a 43-yard touchdown, first touchdown of the game. Again, I want to make sure to shout out DJ Moore and Terrace Marshall on that play. They made outstanding blocks that led to Laviska Shenault being able to score. Speaking of Terrace Marshall, he he gets involved again this week. More and more, we're starting to see him grow into the player we all thought he could be. And he's starting to contribute. He only caught 1 pass in this game, but it was a big pass. He gained 43 yards on a catch and run on a slant. But again, he makes his presence felt. This is, I believe the 3rd week in a row where I came away saying, Terrace Marshall earned his keep this week. he contributed, and that's great to see. I do believe he is going to have a good shot to be a number 2 receiver for the Panthers moving forward. And before we go, I just want to make sure that I say thank you to Eddie Dinero for Eddie Panero, Dinero Panero, for hitting his 4 field goals. He did miss an extra point, so his up and down season kind of continues. But the good news is the terrible game against Atlanta 2 weeks ago isn't completely lingering for him. As he hits 4 field goals in the rain. That's all you can ask for from your kicker for sure. Oh, and PJ Walker. Not great, but he did manage the game well enough to get the win. So that's all you can ask for. With PJ Walker. He did make some pretty bad decisions a couple times in this game, 3 times that I remember. And then 2 particularly towards the end of the game that really, really could have gotten Atlanta back in the game if they were able to capitalize on those opportunities. But fortunately for Panthers fans, they did not. They dropped those interceptions and let the Panthers finish out the game in a strong fashion. It was a pretty convincing win for the Panthers. The score may not indicate it, but it felt like the Panthers really controlled this one. So moving forward, the Panthers' next game is against the Baltimore Ravens. I wouldn't get my hopes up for that one, Panthers fans. But after that, things kind of level out a little bit, and the Panthers are going to have a chance to win a few more games here. So the potential's there for the team to challenge for the division. Not because they have any business doing that at this point, but just because the division is so darn bad that somebody's got to win it. And as of right now, the Panthers are 1.5 games back of first place. We find ourselves in this situation just about every week. As soon as we're ready to pack it up and say, all right, this season's a lost cause. Everyone else keeps losing. We find a way to win a game. And then all of a sudden we're finding ourselves just a couple games out. And this week, Tampa Bay has a tough matchup against Seattle over in Germany. A 6-3 Seattle team should be able to handle business against a Bucs team that has struggled basically all season. So we'll see if they're able to handle their business. Assuming they do, you're looking at the Panthers being 1 game out of first place once again with 7 games to go. So we'll just have to let it play out and see what happens. But thank you for watching Primetime Carolina. Please make sure to subscribe to the channel if you haven't done so. Keep pounding, guys. Peace out. Have a good one.